everybody, it's Teensy Vintage. This is Teresa. Today we are making a piece in my large Dilutions art journal. I'm going to take an old dictionary page and a page from an ancient Nancy Drew novel. Yay! I loved those as a kid. The paper on that particular one is pretty old, but it's a nice contrast in font, since that's a bigger font than the one in the dictionary. And I'm going to do some fussy cutting around this little girl and her cute dolly. I just think they're so adorable. I left the table that they're standing next to in the pic, in what I cut out rather, because it would have just looked weird that her hand was sticking up in the air. Back then, people really loved posing next to tables and putting their hand on the table. So I often come across images that have this hand sticking out, which is fine. But I wanted to leave the table to have some contrast. Unfortunately, it's just half of the table, so I had to do a little bit of zhuzhing in my final piece to make it look less abrupt. Alright, and so we're going to cut off any little extra pieces. Now I'm going to tear up some of these pages to have a nice torn edge, and then try to do some arranging here just to see how I want this piece to look. And this is just a super basic spread. I just wanted to sit down, relax, make something, and not get too precious with it. I think I spent all of less than an hour making this, and it's, not my most fantastic, nor is it my worst, but it's just something I had fun doing. And frankly, I think that's really important to remember. When you're making art, have fun. Do it because you love it. Don't do it because you feel obligated. Like, oh gosh, I gotta go make something so I can post to Instagram and make the algorithm happy. Or I need to post a video to YouTube, blah, blah, blah. If you want to share your art, you should share it. And if you don't, that's okay. And if you don't feel like making art today, that's okay too. Guess what? Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff will be there when you get back. It's not going anywhere. All right, now it's time to glue down these pieces, and I'm just using my trusty glue stick to adhere them to the page, and I'm using my Princeton Catalyst Wedge to smooth them so I don't get any wrinkles. And I'm using the glue stick because it's very thin, and it's not gloppy the way a liquid glue would be. If you like a liquid glue, go ahead and use it. That's great. But for me in this particular project, I think the glue stick is the best way to go. All right. So I'm preparing my little sponge there, but then I decide, you know what? Instead of paint, I'm going to use ink. So I don't actually end up really using that sponge until later. But that's the sponge I used in my last video, and now we're going to have use number 2. So yay. I've got 3 minis of the Distress ink line, and let's see, what colors did I have? One was, oh boy, Wilted Violet, which is the purple, Salty Ocean was the blue, and Carved Pumpkin is the orange. I will have all of the things I used in this video in the description. And if you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer. So just put that in the comments. Okay, so now we're going to add our orange. It's a nice warm color to contrast these 2 cool colors. And I decided that I wanted the purple to be kind of a bit darker. So I went and grabbed my Distress Oxide in Villainous Potion, which is a nice dark purple. And I'm adding that now. I think my Wilted Violet is out of juice, frankly. I may need to get a re-inker for that. But I'm going to go ahead and add in the Villainous potion here. And that once that looks good, we will get out the heat gun and make sure everything is nice and dry. All right. My page starts to curl a little bit, so I go ahead and start to dry the back just to kind of maybe try to get it to curl the other direction, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. This is the stencil I'll be using. It's a Simon Says Stamp stencil, and I will use Archival ink in jet black. And just rearranging my little sponge tool there. And I'm just going to go ahead and make some random stencils on the page. And I really like this stencil. It's a unique design. And it looks really cool when you do it in little pieces or chunks like this. And I go ahead and put a clip up there because that page really was starting to curl a lot. Sometimes the only way to fight the curl is to clip it. And that's okay. Okay, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to put one more section of stencil there. So now I have 5. And we remember our odd numbers are our friends in design. So 5 areas, and I'm going to go very gently around the edges here with the black ink. It just gives it a nice finished look. And here's where I'm going to use the little cosmetic wedge. So I've got some white gesso, and I'm going to use it to cover up some of what we just did to kind of push it into the background visually, so that it's not so busy and distracting. Because what I want is to bring the little girl and her doll to the forefront. And so what I'm going to do here is gently cover some of the area with gesso to make it recede. And the nice thing about these 2 different inks is that the black will stay put. It's a permanent ink. And the colors that we use, those are all water activated. So you can see the gesso starting to take on the color of whatever ink is underneath it, like the purple up there. Kind of gives it a cool, dreamy look, like a little bit of cotton candy. I just think that's really neat. So I'm going to make sure everything is nice and dry. And make sure the little girl is in a spot, you know, maybe over there. No, I think we're just going to go with the middle like we thought in the beginning. Sometimes I overthink things, or I worry too much that I'm not, going to have the result I want. And you know what? That's fine. Be gentle with yourself. And once it's glued down, it's glued down. So, going to use our wedge here. You could use an old credit card or old gift card, anything that has a flat, smooth surface to smooth down your pieces. Doesn't have to be a wedge. It's just a thing I had on the desk, so I'm going to use that. Now I'm going to use my Stabilo all pencil in black to give the little girl something to stand on. So I'm going to pencil in the ground here, just very lightly, and then I'm going to use a small brush to activate it with water. I love these pencils, y'all. They come in all colors. They're fantastic. And I really love the black, especially because you can use it to create some shadows or outlines. It's easy to use. you just need the pencil, obviously, and a small brush and some water, and just a little bit of water. You can see me wiping off the excess there on my napkin. I'm also going to try and give a little definition here to the girl and her doll. And if you mess up or you put something where you don't like it, if the marks all pencil is still wet, you can literally just touch it with your napkin and it will get picked up. And now I'm going to use some more gesso to soften that very harsh line of the table. Since the image was literally just, that was it, there's no more table, I decide to just soften it with some gesso, use the Cosmetic sponge, and I use my finger. And basically, I'm just kind of blending the background so that it looks like it's just kind of receding into a nice cloud. Whatever works. I just felt like that straight line was a little too harsh and distracting. And now I'm just going around and zhuzhing little spots here and there that need just a little bit of softening. Okay. I'm feeling pretty good about this. So now I'm going to do a little more zhuzhing. Darken the left side of the page there. All right, now I'm going to look for a little sentiment to put on the page. These are actually all cutouts from that Nancy Drew book you saw earlier. The nice thing about an old book is you can go through it, cut out sentences and weird statements, keep them for your art projects. Unfortunately, I didn't really find anything I wanted to use in this particular little set, so I'm gonna just reach for ye old trusty Tim Holtz stickers, and I did end up finding one that I liked there. So we will add that to our page after we audition a couple spots and go around it with the all pencil and take a tiny brush and activate the water with water to give it a nice outline. Yeah, this came together pretty nicely. A little bit of a perfectionist here. Just making sure that outline works. I know, you can't even really see it on the video. I'm going to use my Posca paint pen to add some marks. I'm doing little X's, but you could do lines, dots, circles, squiggles, whatever makes you happy. And I think that's going to do it. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. I really appreciate it. I hope you make some fun art this week, and I will see you next time.